I was getting into the shower, I was going to get into the shower, and so I opened the door, I saw the newspaper, and I thought, what the heck. I was naked, and I walked out like this to get the newspaper, and I heard the door go, come on. The cat had pushed the door shut. And I was now outside my apartment, naked as a jaybird. And I actually walked up to somebody's door, my neighbor, and like knocked. And I would never, if somebody did this in an acting class, they came to the door naked, I'd be like, come on. And I did it, nobody was there, thank God. So I had to do something worse. I lived on the 4th floor of this apartment. But luckily, the fire escape was right near my kitchen window, which I knew was open, so I had to step out onto the fire escape and then try to climb through my window, buck naked, which I did. And thank God that was kind of before cell phones became big, because I'm sure somebody would have photographed that, and it would be haunting me to this day. How's that for embarrassing?
How you doing?
Good, you?
Good. My question's for all of you. So I tried to ask this to Sebastian earlier and he didn't really answer it.
Yeah, that's his thing.
So what has been your worst wardrobe malfunction to date?
Oh, I got a good one if you want.
I got one too.
Yeah, hit it.
When Rob and I were in Phoenix convention, we all immediately checked our fly, by the way, right? I hope I don't have to answer right now. Robbie and I were doing the Phoenix convention this year. We were shooting the opening credit sequence for Kings of Con. We had a camera guy with us and a couple of cameras going. And at one point, the stage was a little higher than this, and there was an aisle in the middle, and we were going to shoot. When Rob, you know how Rob runs around the crowd in the mornings? We were going to get a shot of Rob doing that from like a low camera angle. He was going to run down the aisle towards the camera and jump over it. That was a good shot. We actually did the shot, and it's in the opening credits, but we were setting up the camera, so the crowd is full because it's right before Jared and Jensen take the stage, before their panel. And so we set the camera up. Will, our camera guy, was doing his thing, and the crowd is as full as it is now, even more so. And then I come back up to jump back on the stage, and jump back up the stage and tear my pants from here to here. And immediately jump up on stage and I'm like, and it's time to bring the boys out.
Right, and your biggest fear at that point was...
Well, I made the mistake of going backstage, and Jensen's going, legs squirreling. And I said, I just tore my pants from here to here. And then I thought, sweet Jesus, why did I just tell Jensen they're going to depant me? Because that's their thing.
Yeah.
That's how they go, oh, Rich has a hole in his pants. Let's be sure we make sure that Rich doesn't get embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's, oh, Rich has a hole in his pants. Let's be sure we rip them the rest of the way off.
Did Jared ever know? Because he's the one.
That's the one.
You don't tell Jared your weakness.
No. No, you don't.
No.
And I did not tell Jared,
right.
But I thought, Jared?
That's what saved you.
He didn't, thank God. Or Jared just forgot about it got lost in his hair. But I came up here to like, introduce the boys and bring them up like, ladies and gentlemen. Jared. I didn't want the flat, I didn't want to notice. I had people over here like you, I didn't need to, it was awful. That was my worst convention wardrobe malfunction to date. Kids?
Matthew?
Something very similar actually. I went to an audition. It was a producer, director, it was a callback. Pumped early on in my career, one of the first times I got called to like a big producer session. And I had a pair of my Abercrombie and Fitch jeans on. And coming out of the parking garage, there was like a row of parking, blocks. What do you call them? Parking at the front of a parking spot?
Parking blocks.
Parking blocks. And I went to leap over one, and I went, rip! And I was like, man, I felt like quite a tear. And I kept on walking. No big deal, thinking, all right, I use the bathroom before I go in the room, get my nervous pee-pees out. Go in the bathroom, and I turn around, and it's ripped from the top of my belt right down the middle of my butt crack. Little piece of information I forgot to mention at the time, I was commander.
Oh, no! Oh, my God!
Not by choice, but because I was out of quarters and I didn't have my own the washer and dryer machine, so I had no choice. It was to be sanitary, I didn't wear underwear, okay? Don't judge me. So what did I do? I panicked, I immediately started sweating. I was like, my first call back, I'm gonna screw it up. I took a bunch of paper towels, and I tightened my belt as much as I could, and I like layered them from my belt hanging down over my over my big open butt crack. I went in the room, and I did like, so you guys are the producers, and the door's right here, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. Luckily, you don't have to play both sides of the audience when you're in a room. Did the audition, booked it. That show was the OC. It was my first guest star. With full white butt. Just not a comfortable situation.
It's a great story.
Wide open.
I was gonna say the only hole in that story.
Actually,
One of the other holes in that story.
exactly. A couple holes in the story.
Matt Gordon. It was not by choice. I just decided not to wear underwear. I mean, it was by choice. You had underwear at home, you just decided not to wear them. It wasn't like somebody, you got mugged on your way to the... Give me your boxers! It was a choice. That's all I'm gonna say.
Know what I mean, not what I say, Mr. Spade.
Whatever.
I feel like a lot of handsome dudes go commando. It's just a thing.
I don't do it anymore. It was literally
Rich,
a
do you ever
laundry
do
issue.
that? I've never done that.
I layer it up, Robbie. Easy.
Gosh, I mean, those are both great stories. The only thing I can think of is, I mean, there have been, God, so many awkward things with me in clothing, I'm sure. I just can't think right now, except when I was a sophomore in high school, I got up the guts and asked Jenny Coates, who I had this huge crush on, to the dance. And she was so out of my league, and she said yes. I was like, yes. And so I went and bought myself a jacket, like a nice jacket with a tie, and I could take her to the dance. It was going pretty well. I think I was just in the friend zone. I was in the friend zone for her. Anyway, the vice principal of the school was always really nice to me. He was like, hey, Robbie, having fun? I said, yeah. He's like, hey, come to my office. Went to his office, mid-dance, yeah, what's going on? I was like, yeah, turn around. I still had the clip on the jacket that they put on it so you don't steal it.
Oh,
I paid for the jacket, but I still had that clip. It was just on my jacket. Somehow I missed that in my nervousness. So I'm like, yeah, Jenny Coates, totally, diving Jenny Coates. I had the fucking clip. That big old thing. The only way to get it off is with a jackhammer. So he works on that clip, and it took him about an hour to wedge it off of my jacket. And it was over with Jenny. I mean, she's like, where were you? I was like, I never went out with her again. Now, the only silver lining of that story is when we graduated, she would send my yearbook I always thought maybe we should have dated. And I was like, you don't tell me that when I'm going out to college. I love you, Jenny Coates.
The visual that comes to that story, you in the Austin, get it off! Burn! And she in the middle of the dance floor, it's so high.
By the way, somebody's already drawing the shirt of you with the clip on it,
Yeah.
stating I love you, Jenny Coates. It's already. And I already like the shirt. I've already ordered mine.
This guy's got a coffee cup over here.
It's really good. You. Well, that was you. Thank you. You.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Oh, very good.
Once when I was on a plane, I've told this story before, so I'm sorry. Have I told it here? My really embarrassing airplane story? I'm looking at Venetia. Venetia, have I ever told this story before? The really embarrassing airplane story. Yes, somebody's heard it. Yes, so a couple people have heard it. Okay, I'm going to tell it again because I only have 2 good stories, and this is one of them. Is that okay with you if I tell a quick story? It is. I promise you, it's very embarrassing. Okay. So, I was about to get on a flight with my wife. We were going to fly across country. We're flying from Los Angeles to New York, and my wife's mother lives right by the airport. See, you do remember the story. They're laughing up here. Okay, so So we didn't have a lot of money at the time. She offered to take us out to dinner, and when she's paying, I was like, I'm gonna eat a lot. And we went to this Chinese restaurant, and I ate a lot of really kind of gross Chinese food. Not that all Chinese food is gross, but this was gross, kind of Americanized Chinese food with a lot of jarred garlic. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like garlic that's been minced up and put in a jar. And that stuff, I know, kind of makes me a little bit gassy. Just a little bit. I'll fart a little bit. So, but I ate a lot of this stuff. And then we got on a plane. And got up in the air, and we're about 20 minutes into the flight, completely packed flight, and I'm in the window seat. And I'm sitting there, and there's all these people, like, there's my wife, and then somebody else, and I don't want to make a big thing, and we're going up, and I feel something coming on. And I decide just to let just a teeny bit out. I turn on the blower, just let a little bit out to, you know, relieve the pressure a little bit. So I did, and it was like, and the guy sitting immediately behind me fainted. And his wife pushed the button, and the flight attendants came up, and they gave him oxygen from an oxygen tank. And he woke up, and he said, I don't know what happened, that's never happened to me before. And the girlfriend said to the flight attendants, I think someone has gas. And the flight attendants couldn't hear what she was saying because she was kind of whispering it. And they said, ma'am, that's not possible. All of the fuel is stored in the wings. No, none of it comes anywhere close to the cabin, so there's no way there's a gas leak. And then they went away. That blew over, so to speak. And a couple hours later, I felt something sort of building up again. And I thought, all right, this time I'll be really careful. And I just, he faints again. They administer oxygen again. It was horrible. I was so humiliated. And then it got even worse. His wife again, his girlfriend again repeated, you know, somebody has gas. He said, no ma'am, we told you it's not possible. And then the person sitting next to them said, somebody has to go to the bathroom. We landed, and you know when you land, and the thing goes ding, and everybody stands up? We couldn't all stand up, because we had to wait, and we had to wait for the paramedics to come on the plane to check this guy out, to make sure he was okay. And the whole time he's insisting, no, I'm fine, nothing like this has ever happened to me before. And I'm just like this in my seat. Anyway, I challenge Matt to embarrass me again, because I'll just make an even worse story about myself. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hi. I was just wondering what is the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
Well, it happened in a New York Minute. Just kidding. You know what? As far as specific moments, they're difficult to think of, but I remember being a kid or being in middle school and high school, and the silliest little things seem to be the end of the world, right? And now in hindsight, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a worker, and now I look back at these things that happened, whether I tripped or whatever the situation was. I had a booger on my face. It happens all the time. But you look back and you're like, man, at the time it seemed like the end of the world. But hopefully you get to a point in your life where you can kind of laugh at it. I don't know, what embarrassing What kind of embarrassing?
I would say just your daily life.
Daily life. My daily life. But I was also the guy who would, maybe I just don't have a lot of shame. Because I was also the guy who would start giggling when I had farted. I'm giggling. I'm just kidding. So I don't know. I try to choose, and it's a choice you make constantly. I try to choose to laugh at the silly things that happen to everybody. And if somebody wants to judge me because of something that happened, hell with me.
I'd say that, I mean, I agree with you in a way that I think the older that you get, the less embarrassed you get about stuff. And whether that's just a sign of maturity or just a sign of lack of caring. Because there were times in my adolescence, you know, when things would happen I would physically be embarrassed about things that were happening. And that doesn't happen anymore. And I think maybe it's because if somebody is willing to judge me, then I don't really care what they think.
Thanks for the question.
Thanks.